got 2 flat tires in 3 days.
The Ellen Marsh story. That's the name of your novel.
There is no person on earth that is the human embodiment of course, that would happen to you, other than me. That is going to be my legacy.
Yeah, when the book A Series of Unfortunate Events was written, they had you in mind.
Well, let's roll the music, I guess. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Yellen Marie Marsh. Did you get the tires fixed?
The tires are fixed. Brian at Brian's Auto Shop. Help me out. He knows me well. I have the worst luck with tires. Welcome to the stage, Ellen Marsh. She's got the worst luck with tires. But it's so true. I get flat tires so often.
Is your rearview mirror still hanging on by a prayer?
It is.
Okay.
Everybody's doing great. Welcome, everybody, to I Think Not. I am one half of this shit show. My name is Ellen, and across from me is my better-lucked better half, Joey Taranto. Hello, my love.
I don't know how much my better luck is. Girl, between your broken tires, your broken rearview mirror, you turn the sucker on and it lights up like a Christmas tree. It's like bing, bong, ding, dong. The air is low. The air conditioner's not working. The oil needs to be changed. If that car could talk, it would go, help.
Well, you know what? It still runs, and I don't deserve nice things. Welcome to I Think Not, the podcast where we just walk around this earth with imposter syndrome, and we recap your favorite true crime TV shows. That is what we're here doing. You are in for such a treat. We are covering the show Smugshots here on the general feed. However, on the Patreon, we are covering Worst Roommate Ever on Netflix.
That's right. Now is a good time to head over to our Patreon to get some bonus materials. Yes, that's right. We've got all kinds of shows that we've covered. We have See No Evil. We have Pink Collar Crimes, my favorite. I almost got away with it. We have Swamp Talk, where we trauma dump all over you. We have painting parties. We have watch parties. We've got all the parties except sex parties.
Coming in 2025. That's right, we've got a little something for everyone. So if any of that interests you, if you want us in your ears a little bit more, or you want to hear our coverage of Love After Lockup, head on over to patreon.com/IThinkNot and join in the fun. There's all kinds of stuff there with all kinds of budgets, all kinds of good times, and Joey's nudes.
Yep.
So, should we get to the episode, my love?
I think now's a good time to start.
Great. They started talking on Joey's nudes. I don't know what came after that.
Y'all, this show is wild. I'm telling you now, have a cocktail. You're going to have to pay attention. You're going to have to put whatever project you're doing, whether you're washing your curtains or you're balancing your checkbook. Remember checkbooks?
No.
You're going to need to pay attention because this is wild.
Season 1, Episode 2 of Smugshots, A Special Investigation.
Well, it is 2019, and we are in Chicago, Illinois, the Windy City. It's very windy. Can you see me? I'm being blown away. You can't see me. You gotta go to YouTube to see me. It's not called the Windy City because of the wind. It's called the Windy City because the politicians there like to run their mouths, and America was like, yeah, that deserves a nickname. Sort of like Big Mouth and Blue Eyes.
Yeah. That deserves a nickname. I gotta say, though, I love Chicago.
Yeah, it's great.
It is a toddling fucking town. The bridges, the architecture. I love it there. I have such good memories there of when we did Kinky Boots and Pretty Woman. You weren't there for the Pretty Woman work.
No. Yeah, no, Chicago is a great town. Now, listen, y'all, we're going to be talking a lot about politics today, and I'm just going to say it. I hate politics. I hate politicians. I think they're all liars. Name a politician and I'll tell you why they're a liar. Don't, because we don't have enough time. That's for another podcast. But the thing is you can't not be involved in politics in America because America is crazy. Anyway, so we meet a man named Aaron Pepple who works in the Special Services Department in Chicago, and he's here to talk about our subject today, Miss Candace Clark.
Well, we open up on Aaron Pepple, and he is doing what I would consider to be a act of torture, and that is watching himself give a speech on a video. Joey, I would rather you give me a pap smear every day for the rest of my life than be forced to watch a video of myself while I'm being videoed, because there's nothing in this world that I hate more than watching myself on the video, and the idea of someone videoing me forced me to do long division, okay?
Yeah.
In front of people, in front of an audience. That would be a better time. What's happening? Also, he's lip syncing to himself. Did you see his mouth moving?
No, I didn't.
He was like, he's like, this is my favorite part. It was so David Brent from The Office. He's like, I fucking love this part. Look at me go. All right. Torture. Anyway, I'm fine. He made it through. He made it through his speech.
Can I tell you something?
What?
I do not share that problem.
You like watching yourself?
I will watch me and I'll be like, look, that's me. Isn't that good? Watch this part. It's even better.
No,
I like this.
I can't. I don't watch our YouTube clips. When I have to edit our faces, it's torture because I just break. I'm like, why are you looking like that? Why does your face look like that? Why do you say your words like that? Why is your face like that? Why does your hands do that when you talk?
Listen, baby, you're like Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way. I understand because I actually hate having my picture taken and I feel very awkward in that. Anyway.
Also, I remind you of Mary Poppins because we both fucked Dick Van Dyke. Anyway.
When I first learned of Candace Clark, she had just been sworn in as the Director of Special Investigations.
I, Candace Clark.
I, Candace Clark.
How do you get that job? I feel like I'd be so good at that job.
Well, you have to be elected.
I feel like I would just show up on the first day of work and be like, hey, I am the head of Special Investigations, which is any investigation that is special.
That's right.
And I'm going to be the head of it. So I'm going to be looking into anything that you need someone to look into. Like, you're going to come to me first.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen because I'm the head of Special Investigations.
Yeah, you are. You've been hired. Well, you know, here's the thing. Everyone was very optimistic about Candace's future. They were very excited for her. You know, she was the first Black woman in this position, and she would be working directly with the police. It was a big deal. And Aaron was paid to speak at Candace's swearing in, as well as filming it and organizing it. And Rich Daniels, the director of City Lights Orchestra, who also performed at the event, was due to be paid as well. Now, both men were told when it came time to get their check to reach out to Candace's assistant, Paulette Robinson. Now, let me tell y'all something. Ellen can attest to this. As performers, sometimes you gotta track folks down in the Himalayan mountains to collect your check. It's annoying as fuck. That's why Ellen and I are very committed to paying folks in a timely manner because we know what it's like to not be. I will text random people out of the blue, did I pay you? And they're like, it's been 3 hours.
Yeah. I texted Harris. I text her all the time, do I owe you money? Joey was like, I paid Harris. And I was like, I'm just checking that Joey paid you. and then, do we owe you for anything else?
Yeah, pain and suffering.
She could just say any number. I'd be like, great, I'll sell you.
It's true. And you would think with something involving politics that it would be really easy to get paid, right? And the other thing you have to keep in mind is when people hire you for a job, especially as a performer, the audition never ends. You show up, you got to be on time, you've got to be nice, you got to get along with everyone, you have to deliver what you said you were going to do. And then after that, you still have to be nice because you want to maintain that relationship. So you can't be hounding people. You can't bang on the front door of someone's house talking about,
pay me what you want me. Don't act like you forgot. Bitch, better have my money.
you know, it's a delicate situation, but also fucking pay me.
Absolutely. You're like, yes, of course. It has been 6 months. No worries. Meanwhile, every worry you've ever had is in the pit of your stomach.
Yes.
I have all the worries, but none of them are yours because I'm such a nice person and I want you to hire me again.
I will worry till that check clears my bank. Okay?
And even then, I'm going to be suspicious if it's still there in a week.
So Candace's assistant, Paulette, replies to Aaron.
Just curious on, when I'll get paid for this event. Let's balancing that between wanting payment and being frustrated about it, but also I would love to work more.
So now to explain this situation about what exactly is happening in the government, which is probably going to take 6 to 7 months. Susan Mendoza is here, and she's the Illinois State Controller. Also a job that I would want.
I thought it was comptroller or something like that.
What is it?
Comptroller or it's not controller. It's
Because I'd be like, what are you doing? I'd be like, I don't know, just controlling shit. Just like what I was born to do. I don't know, read the sign.
The comptroller.
What's a comptroller?
I mean, basically they handle the money.
It sounds like a made-up word and job.
That's what
I like controller better. I'm just over here controlling things. What are you controlling? I don't know the state of Illinois. I'm just a comptroller.
Here we go. A comptroller. Now you got me in my head.
A comptroller? I don't think it's a comptroller.
A comptroller is a
I don't
public...
think that's right.
Comptroller. It's COMPTROLLER, motherfucker. I've got it on Google. Their job is they are a public official who examines financial accounts.
I like controller better.
Whatever. Say whatever you want, Janet Jackson.
Anyway, so Susanna is telling us that during this time, 2019, during the government shutdown, we learned that there was massive payment delays. So much so that you could wait an average of 210 business days until you got paid. It's a lot of days. I mean, but truth be told, I mean, if you work in podcasting, you take that day, double it, and add a 0. So they're doing great in terms of the government.
That's 6 months. Just so you know, I did the math. That is 6 months. And that's about 5 months too long.
Yeah.
Someone like Candace Clark saying, we'll pay you. It'll just take some time. Not unusual at all. She was a public servant that cares about others.
That is when Aaron switches up the script and says, Candace is a corrupt politician. Great. Cool. Add her to the list.
Yeah. More on that later, I guess.
So now we meet Candace's college bestie, Stanita. And let me just tell y'all now, Stanita, she is not holding back because she says, yeah, Candace is a monster. I was like, oh shit, here we go. Here we go.
That was like straight out of the gate. Like she was like, sorry, did I give too much too soon?
Yep. Yeah.
Did I didn't have a build up. But basically she's like, the Candace that is before us right now is not the Candace I grew up with. They were thick as thieves growing up. We're talking Lucy and Ethel.
Yep.
Gail and Oprah, Laverne and Shirley, Romy and Michelle, Barb and Star.
Yep. Bert and Ernie.
Those are boys. I was naming girl besties.
Sorry. Crystal and Margaret.
Who?
Yeah.
Who's Crystal and
Those
Margaret?
are real people. And so at one point, they were inseparable, right? And we see Candace speaking at an NAACP meeting, praising and thanking Stanita for her friendship. And it turns out that Stanita got pregnant at 21, and she really leaned on Candace. You know, she says, I saw Candace as my lifeline.
Mm-hmm. So it was at that time that Candace introduced Stanita to something called the Courage Program. And it was basically a government-subsidized program for young single moms. And she had her son at 21. She was all alone. She was really scared. And she was willing to accept any kind of resource that she could get to help her on this next chapter of her life. So Candace explained the Courage Program is something that is a program that offers housing to single mothers, which is huge because Stanita was already worried about everything. And she's like, if I can have my housing paid for or some kind of assistance, that would give me a huge leg up. And so one day, Candace calls Stanita out of the blue and she's like, listen, there's actually going to be some really nice newer apartments available for you through the Courage Program. I think this is a tremendous opportunity.
Yeah, and she says all you have to do is put down $250 and then you'll be put on the wait list. Now, Stanita's mom, Mrs. Rowell, is here.
What's Mrs. Rowell's first name?
I don't know.
That's because her name just said Mrs. Rowell.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, you don't need my first name because you're going to call me Mrs. Rowell because that's what everyone calls me because that's my name. So why would you need my first name? You're
Listen.
Like, yes, ma'am.
I'm already terrified of Mrs. Rowell, okay?
Yeah.
If you thought Stanita was going to be honest, Mrs. Rowell is not here to fuck around because she looks at this camera and says,
she would be cut and dry with her smile. So she'd go, long ago, I was always told when you see someone that's like that, they're hiding something.
And I was just like, y'all, that intuition, never ignore your intuition, never ignore your gut. It will not lie to you.
Also, try a new hobby. Try sushi if you never had. don't try Mrs. Roll. It's not going to end well for you. Do something fun for yourself, but take off the list. Fuck with anyone who knows Mrs. Roll, because she's not here for it.
She is not. Now listen, when your life is suspended and you're just trying to find a soft place to land, it's really important. Like the little things that we take for granted, they really matter. And something like having a roof over your head when you've got a newborn and you're just trying to get some stability, it's exhausting to think about doing it alone. So when someone you love shows up and says, I'm going to help you, you take that help, right? But also, getting this house for her, it meant the world. It was going to give her something to be proud of, you know? Then Candace comes to her and says, look, you should put more money down because when you move in, then you'll have like 6 months of rent already paid. And she was like, well, that makes sense. And so Stanita, alongside 2 other friends who were going to share this home with her, they put up $5,000. Again, why would you not trust your best friend?
Of course. Absolutely. If you were like, I have a deal for you, I don't trust you because you're gay.
Yeah.
And you're going to spend it on poppers and lube. It's a totally different scenario. But if it was a woman, I'm kidding. I don't trust anyone. I don't know where this is going. That's cats. So Mrs. Roll was like, listen, live your life. This sounds like a great opportunity, but whatever you do, just make sure you have a paper trail. Make sure you have receipts for everything. You know how we all love a receipt. And so best friend Stanita was like, you know what? You're right. Yeah, thanks for that reminder. And she was like, hey, Candace, girl, you know, just for my brain, can you be sure and like send me a receipt and just like a paper trail for the programs that you've applied me for this housing, just so like I can keep it all in order. Thanks, love you, which is not anything crazy at all. And we can all forget to do those things sometimes. Candace didn't like that.
Candace was all insulted. She's like, I'm trying to help you. Why are you harassing me? She asked you for a receipt, not one of your knees. It's not asking for too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why did I say knees? But you get the point.
Yeah,
and
because it's an important hint.
You need a knee.
Yeah,
and
you need
so
a knee.
Candace is like, this is a government program and it all takes time and I don't need to be insulted this way. And then Mrs. Rowell pops in to say this.
If she see a crack, Candace think I can slither into that crack and then I can make it bigger. That's how I saw her, as a rodent trying to get some cheese.
Drag her. Just a cheese-eating rat. You better slander her on national television. Listen, call her out a rat.
Not a rat, Mrs. Roll. Whatever she says goes. I'm on her side. She can say anything. I will yes and her.
Me too.
So one day, Stanita goes to withdraw some money from her checking account, and out pops a notification that her account is overdrawn by $969. She's like, what in the Brad Pickles is going on here? Like, there must be some bank error. So she gets in contact with the bank and they were like, no error. Someone cashed a check. But while we have you on the phone, are you okay? She's like, yeah, why? And they're like, I mean, we're just glancing at these checks and the handwriting is so different on each one of them. This is wacky.
It turns out that best friend Candace, Miss Don't Insult Me Candace, I'm trying to help you, had stolen checks out of Stanita's checkbook, right in the middle of them, so she wouldn't notice right away. And she had forged those checks and stolen her money. And so Stanita says, I drove to her house and I was like, I would do the same. I would get my 3 other best friends. I'd say, light up this joint. We ride at dawn.
Yeah.
We're going to their house and it's Twisters 3 because I'm about to come in like a twister.
She's like, I drove all night. Shut up, Celine.
I mean, I'd be like, bring your mama out here too, because I'm going to cuss her ass out. Of course, Candace wasn't home. And poor Stanita was like, this set me back. Not a year, not 2 years, 6 years it took me to bounce back from this. She did this to a mother, a single mother, and her best friend.
The Ethel to her fucking Lucy. Her best friend. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable.
I would feel bad for taking a candy out your purse without asking first.
Exactly. And you know I have the good shit in there. And
Werthers, the Werthers.
The Werthers, because I'm an old lady. And Mrs. Rowell was like, you know that we can't be the only ones. Well, cut to Darlene Simmons, who is a community organizer.
I thought she was the person that we were looking for. I am part of a charitable organization for men. I felt like I was doing something. I served a purpose.
Candace said, I want to help you. And she talked to her on the phone all the time, and they became friends. Now, Darlene had lost her job, but she still had her 401k, and she wanted to use that money to buy a home. And Candace offered to help her with that. She's like, I just love helping people. And Darlene had no reason to not believe her.
And she's like, listen, tell me what you want. Tell me what you're looking for, and I will do my best to make that happen. And so Candace was like, all right, you got to send me some money so that, if I need to make a down payment right there, I can make it. They have to know you're serious. We'll take this out of your closing costs. She gave her a whole song and dance, but nothing pinged Darlene's spidey senses until it was time to start planning Darlene's wedding. Darlene's daughter wanted to get married at some fancy schmancy place called Chateau Boucher.
That's where my mama and I have a place. Hello, I'm sorry. This is Bobby Boucher, and I have a wedding venue down here in the bayou, and we like to marry people. The Gators will serve as your ushers. This is down here. You don't got to worry about the oblongata that will make them angry. But my job, I gave up my job as the water boy, and now I'm Chateau Bobby Boucher.
Are you actually just Gypsy Rose Blanchard's dad trying to earn some extra money because you're not on TV anymore?
I feel like I've been caught.
Yeah, he's so cute. I love Papa Rod. I hope he still listens. So Candace, of course, she always knows a guy. You know those people that knows a guy? That's Candace. She always knows a guy. But in Chicago, she knows a guy in Chicago. What's the Chicago accent?
Chicago.
I don't know.
Yeah, the Bears in Chicago. Yeah, she was like, oh, I've got a hookup over at the Chateau Bobby Boucher, and I can help with that too. And Darlene is thinking, who is this angel sent from heaven to help me?
We got everything, the menu. Candace suggested a Hummer limo, a chocolate fountain. I had given her $8,000 in cash.
All of this from her 401k, and she does not have a job.
The thing is that I get it. So they were going like a little overboard, and people do tend to go overboard at weddings. You want to give your kids everything. But I do actually want to say, I don't want to get too far off track, but I do want to say, I love a good deal. And so I just want to say, on the subject of having like really big and over-the-top extravagant weddings, there are like really essential things that you can cut out, which I wish that, Darlene would have said, like, you can cut out like favors. Like, no one cares about the favors. It'll end up in a landfill. Save your money.
Yeah.
The champagne toast. Like, pick up your Diet Coke and toast. You don't need to pour out champagne to everyone. Save your money. The groom. Don't need them. One less suit. It's just
the
like
mother of the groom. Don't need her either.
Don't need. You know what? Get your girlfriends and go down to PJ O'Flannery's and get hammered and do that instead.
Yeah.
Happy wedding, everyone.
How long? When's your next wedding, Ellen?
Is it? Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Candace never paid the venue. She pocketed that money, and they had to cancel the wedding.
They said that, and they just breezed over it. They were like, we canceled the wedding. I was like,
yeah. Well, Darlene was devastated. And not so much for her, but for her daughter, because she's like, and she got very emotional at this point. She said, you have to understand, my daughter is my backbone. She's always been my backbone. She's taken care of me. I love my daughter. And this was her way of thanking her. And then her daughter said, you know what, Mom, this really sucks because I'll never have the wedding of my dreams. And so Darlene is like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to the cops.
And of course, Darlene was trying to get in touch with Candace. Candace would not answer her calls, take her calls, see her, meet her. But that did not deter down bitch Darlene, because down bitch Darlene went to DBU and she majored in, while I may have fallen for your scam, I will get you back. And she minored in, you fuck with the wrong bitch, lady. So she took to Google and she wrote a Facebook updates and she's like, Candace Clark, beware, she's a scammer. Nothing too specific, but she was trying to get the word out there and she was trying to get as much information as possible that she could acquire about Candace fucking Clark.
It's from the Circuit Court of Cook County. I went down and set this up myself, filing charges against her. They have no way of contacting her. She was gone.
I guess Candace watched a little too much of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. She disappeared. Now back to Aaron Pepple, the man who organized and spoke at Candace's swearing in. He says, you have to understand, Candace was very vocal about helping women and stopping crime in Chicago. She painted herself as the good guy. So 3 months after she was sworn in, there's another event that Aaron is working. And he's like, I didn't recognize a single face there. I was definitely annoyed because I still hadn't been paid. Neither had Rich Daniels, the conductor of the City Lights Orchestra, who had done 2 events for her as well. Aaron says, when I Googled her, literally nothing came up. Nothing. Nada. And we're talking about an elected official.
Again, while Aaron was happy to have another speaking engagement, he still was like, ha ha ha, hey, Paulette, super excited about this next engagement. But, like, can I get paid for the last one? That was almost 3 months ago. And Paulette was like, grrr, that pesky government shutdown. It'll get to you. I don't know why she's a pirate, but no clue. But she basically was like, we're trying our best. Aaron, what could he do? His hands were tied.
Actually, I have the email she wrote to him. Let me just pull it up real quick.
Look at you. Okay.
It says, hold on, let me just.
Yeah.
Dear Aaron. Oh, yes. Yes, I know. So upsetting. Times are crazy. So wild. Listen, the government shutdown is really frustrating, isn't it? I know. Me too. I wish there was more we could do. Trust me, it will be okay. You will get paid so soon. Sooner than soon. The time to get paid is nigh. So nigh. Just nigh. Have a blessed day. You will get paid nigh. Paulette.
What are the nighs?
The time is nigh. This is nigh.
What does that mean?
Is soon.
Okay. Thank you for getting that source document.
Yes.
For us.
We here at I Think Not. We do research.
Yeah. You can't find it anywhere.
I dug deep for that one.
We are the only ones who can see it.
I got it at www.internet.web.gov.
So remember that comptroller? I don't know. We're going to get letters. Susan Mendoza was like, wait, what's going on? Because a bunch of people are asking questions. They're like, what do you know about Candace Clark? And she was like, I don't know who that is. Let me reach out to the governor to see who she is.
So a woman named Jamie Newell, who also worked on these events alongside Aaron, she's like, you know what? I can't believe I forgot about this. I live next door to the comptroller. How do you say this?
Comptroller?
Comptroller.
Kama Sutra Ola. Come on and bring your sutra over here. I think that was it.
I live next door to the come back now, y'all. You hear? Troller named, Susan Mendoza. And she's like, I can just go knock on her door and ask her what's going on, right? She's the one who cuts the check for the government.
Yeah.
My doorbell rang, and it was a neighbor of mine who I had never met. She wanted to know if they were ever going to get paid. This is my understanding. And I said, well, I don't really know what you're talking about.
And Susanna was like, I don't know offhand who this Candace Clark is, but let me do some digging. And so she tried to do a little bit of digging. She's like, I have no idea. She's like, listen, new neighbor, thank you for the Kama Sutra book. That was a little weird. I don't know what that's in reference to. But I'm going to ask the governor, actually. So now Susanna gets in touch with the governor, and the governor was like, I don't know who that is, and I'm going to do you one better. The director of special investigations isn't even a job. So I don't know who she is, and she's got a magical job that doesn't exist. What?
When she said that, I was like, holy fuck.
I did not see any of this coming. Hold on to your Grand Tetons, y'all.
Yep, because it's about to get the sixth sense up in here. So Susanna Googles Candace and sees that there's been several ceremonies for her.
Awards?
Yep. One of them at the University of Illinois, Chicago, which is a very prestigious school. One at a place called Majanios, where all the politicians speak.
They had probably just had an event and they hadn't taken their banners down. I told my neighbor, I'm so sorry, but this is illegal to me in so many different ways.
And Susanna tells her neighbor, listen, This is all wild. This seems pretty illegal. Also, the video you showed me, I have a question. Why are you dressed as a judge? And she's like, what do you mean? Well, you're dressed as a judge. You're not a judge. Why are you posing as a judge? That's gotta be illegal too. You're wearing judge robes. And Jamie's like, back to Candace.
Put a pin in that. I don't know what the usual suspects is happening here, but hold on to your butts.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Pepple basically explains to us he's an actor. He's an actor playing an actor. We see his fake actor reel. This is very meta. It's very Truman Show.
Yep.
Yo, Candace hired a bunch of actors to play the part of elected officials. She scripted these ceremonies, she scripted these award things in Q&A, and she filled these fake scenarios with local Chicago actors.
Y'all, I couldn't wrap my head around this. When Aaron and Jamie, alongside the other people, were approached by Candace, she told them, oh, this is all very standard. Mm-hmm. The government always hires actors for these types of events. Don't worry, it's totally legit. And none of them batted a single eyelash at it, which goes to show you most actors will do anything for a paycheck. Get the money, ask questions later, and that is what happened here.
And that is show business. Listen, as they say in show business, if you're not talented, show them your tits. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but that was advice that I have taken very seriously over the years, and that is why now I am a podcaster.
What lovely breasts you have.
Well, yeah, so basically Aaron says this.
She wrote them. She wrote all of these questions. She gave these questions to everybody. She's acting. We were all actors.
Never in a million did I see this coming. But it is so true because, listen, if you say something with enough conviction, she's like, listen, nobody knows who the comptroller is, and the comptroller is doing comptroller things. The comptroller doesn't have time to come give a speech. This is what we do in the government. We hire actors because nobody knows who any of these people are. It's totally legit. You will absolutely get paid, and you will get points towards your equity card. These actors were fucking living large.
It is certifiable. So now Susanna, the comptroller, is like, Jamie, you've been duped. And now I'm going to reach out to the police because I have to. So she speaks with the actual Special Investigations Department of the Chicago Police and fills them in on everything, right? So they start digging into the case. And Aaron and everyone else who got caught up in this is told you need to send over all of your email correspondence with Candace's assistant Paulette, to the investigators. And meanwhile, Darlene, whose daughter's wedding was ruined, she's talking to anyone and everyone about Candace because she doesn't want anyone else to get scammed the way she was.
Yeah, there are a lot of people out in these Chicago streets trying to expose Candace, and Darlene isn't stopping anytime soon.
No.
So much so, one day Darlene was in a cab, and she's running her mouth like you do to cab drivers. Well, I do one of two things. I either tell my entire life story and demand their entire life story in return, or I follow. You pull your head into your hoodie. He makes a little
Yep.
Who's that? Kenny. He's like Kenny from South Park, and then he just naps. One of two things. But she's yapping on, and finally the cab driver's like, someone was just in this cab from CBS. Her name is Dorothy Tucker, and I think she's an investigative journalist. Do you want her card? And Darlene was like, yes, I do.
Thank you so much. And so Darlene calls Dorothy, and she's like, she listened to my story, she was empathetic, and she was all over it. But then Darlene gets a call from a random man who wants to talk to her about Candace. And she's like, look, at this point, I'm suspicious of everyone. I'm suspicious of my refrigerator if it looks at me funny. I'm suspicious. And I was like, welcome to my everyday life. But then the man says, listen, I saw your Facebook post about Candace Clark. And just so you know, Candace is set to receive an award downtown. Honey, Darlene called CBS reporter Dorothy Tucker with a swiftness. And guess who showed up at that ceremony? Dorothy Tucker.
We're here because you were accused of stealing $65,000 to $70,000 from Darlene Simmons.
What?
answer some questions.
I'm gonna ask you like for the last time to please stop.
Well, she got away. Someone came in front of her, and Candace denied everything. She was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. She put so much work into this act. She's like writing scripts, learning office lingo. Learning office lingo is a part-time job in and of itself. We are the furthest thing from an office here at Big Mouth and Blue Eyes. That's hard. Just, we seem to have to move the goalposts in a bit, and we failed to mention a couple details, so we will download that information and run it up the flagpole and see what sticks. And then we will circle back. I'll ping you when it's ready, and then we'll synergize offline and reassess once we get those deliverables.
Per my last email, the last fiscal year, we have had the uptake of the downloads where we circle back and circle in and out to find the latest bookkeeping of circling. Best regards, me.
Well, it's a lot. Well, also, turns out, Assistant Paulette is not Paulette.
Paulette, if you had to guess, y'all, I want you to, wherever you are right now, I'm going to count to 3, and you tell me who you think Paulette is. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, guys, I really wanted to pay you, but we've just got this government shutdown. I'm
You're
so
good
sorry.
at that.
But don't worry, this next fiscal year is going to be great. Makes me want a hot dog real bad.
You're immaculate at that.
We were still coming out of that budget impasse. Candace Clark knew what was going on with the state's finances, and she was paying attention to that and took advantage.
Well, you remember Mrs. Rowell? She's at home enjoying her life, and she sees Candace on the news, and she's like, oh, snap.
Yeah.
Karma never forgets an address for real.
It sure doesn't. Y'all, this story hit the news, and they fully exposed Candace. The fake political bullshit, the housing scams. Turns out Candace had been evicted from these gorgeous, elaborate homes that she had rented and never paid for. She'd been evicted 23 times over 12 years, and over 80 people came out of the woodwork to tell their story, and when they did the math, Candace had scammed people out of almost $500,000.
Everything about this woman was fake, down to this picture we saw at the top of the episode of her being Miss Teen Illinoisanders.
In high school, y'all.
It was fake.
It is certifiable. And
It's
so
embarrassing. Did you go to JCPenney and take that picture and just make a sash? Then when you look at it, you're like, yeah, that looks like it was made at Spencer's. That looks like you got it out of a Cracker Jack box.
you know what they didn't have in the 80s?
What?
Google. She thought that she was going to get away with this. I mean, she was a teenager in the 80s. This is not in the 80s. But anyway.
Yeah, worst thing to ever happen to the bullshitter was the internet. That's probably why my dad's in hiding. Because the internet just ruined all of his scams.
It's true. Well, Candace is arrested at a Starbucks. Of course, they find multiple fake IDs on her. And that's when we meet Candace's criminal defense attorney, Borjan Kovacevic.
I think it's Borgen Kovacek.
Whatever it is, it's clearly Italian.
You're lucky you are so goddamn handsome. Well, Borgen describes basically what a criminal defense attorney is.
Nobody ever calls a criminal defense attorney when they're having a good day. They always call us when they're having the worst day ever. And so I try to be sympathetic to that, at least show up if I can to help somebody out.
Yeah, but that's why you make all the money.
It's true.
I mean, criminal defense attorneys aren't that discerning. I just saw Chicago last night on Broadway because one of my friends, Orphe, is playing Matron Mama Morton. So I had to see Chicago on Broadway again. And one of my favorite lines in all of musical theater is from a very famous defense attorney in Chicago, and that is Billy Flynn. Do you know the line?
I don't. What is it?
It is such a good line. He basically said, he takes Roxy Hart's case and he's like, I didn't ask if she was guilty. I didn't ask if she was innocent. I asked if she had $5,000.
Yep.
All I need is $5,000. And he goes, this is the best line. He goes, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but if Jesus Christ lived in Chicago today and had come to me and had $5,000, let's just say things would have turned out a little differently for him. It's such a good fucking line.
It is. Also, like, criminal defense attorneys, it's fascinating to me. It is fascinating. But it's funny because I remember you telling me that you asked someone, how do you do this? And he's like, it's not my job to care whether they're innocent or guilty. My job is to defend them.
No, my job is to ensure they have a fair trial.
Oh, that's right.
Even more vague than that. Like, I'll take your money. I just want to make sure that you get your due process, you get your constitutional rights to have a fair trial, and then I'm going to collect your money.
It's true. There's a lot of money to be collected. Well, Borgen was like, sure, I'll take your case. The problem is that Borgen didn't do his homework. He didn't know what this case was about. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what he was up against. He just got a phone call from someone saying, hey, my mother's due for court. Can you show up? Shouldn't you ask more follow-up questions? I don't know. You're the lawyer, Ellen. You tell me.
I am not a defense attorney.
Yeah.
I am a research attorney from the research laboratories.
I mean, I don't know about y'all, but that sounds legitimate to me. So this man walks into court. It's mayhem. There's press everywhere. He has no idea what's happening. And we see news footage of Dorothy Tucker from CBS asking Candace questions with Borgen by her side, and he has zero idea what the fuck is happening. But he's on the news.
Exactly. He had no clue what he was getting himself into. Well, they parted ways real quick.
Yeah, they did.
Any sort of fraud, ask me to pay in check. I have a bit of a saying. If you want me to take payment in check, that must mean you think I'm stupid. And if you think I'm stupid, why would you want me to represent you?
I always say, you better check yourself before you think I'm going to take a check. That's what he said on the show. The check stops here. See no evil, check no evil.
Checkmate. Check it out.
Lady Gaga wrote a song about it.
Yeah, how's it go?
It goes, check, write me a check. Check, write me a check. Write me a, oh, you can write me a check now.
He's gonna write a check.
My name is David Drewicki, and I'm a criminal defense attorney here in Chicago, Illinois. I defended Candace Clark. There were a number of other attorneys.
Well, David was lawyer number 4, y'all, which he's like, that was odd. And David gets caught up on the case, and when they go to court, the judge asks, do you want to cop a plea or you want to go to court? And David was saying, well, you know, if we go to court and make the state have to prove their case, it's going to be hard for them, right? There are multiple charges, and some of them, David is thinking, we could get a not guilty on. Like, there was a contract that was signed by Paulette Robinson, her assistant. It's not a real person, right? The state would have to prove that she's not a real person and also prove that Candace was the one who actually signed her name. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's so shady. I mean, the thing we always have to remember is that the burden rests on the prosecution.
Yep.
It is the prosecution's job to prove their case, and the defense really doesn't have to do much other than be like, prove it. It's so shady because he's like, there's another side to this. I was like, is there? There's another side to fraud?
Listen, I will give this man his due. He is doing his job, and he's doing it well. All right, so Candace is facing 3 to 7 years in prison. And if Candace cops a plea, she'll get 5. Well, y'all, buckle up, because this is so infuriating. I have a Xanax first, but only if you have a prescription for it.
Candace was facing 6 felony charges. On the high end, she was going to serve as high as 7 years. She ended up serving 6 months and has now been released on home confinement.
It's not enough.
No.
It's not enough. The amount of people that she robbed blind. Now, when we did American Greed, we saw people wipe out people's pensions. And it's all relative, right? Like, anybody losing any amount of money at the hands of another person is just not fucking fair, and it's just not right. Even though she was taking a couple of $1,000s from this person or $10,000 from that person, it's the bigger picture. Like, her friend Stanita had nothing. Like, she was like, I was a broke kid.
Yeah.
And she took, like, taking $5,000 from her was huge. It's not 6 of one, half dozen of the other, but she was robbing from so many people and making such a financial impact on their life. I cannot believe that anybody could look in the face of a judge and be like, yeah, no, that's fair. 6 months, that makes sense. Because, you know, we always say that it's so much better, you know, for us emotionally when we're not, you know, talking about violent crimes, and that financial crimes are always easier to cover. And on one hand, they are, but it's like, you are impacting people's lives, their retirement plans, their kids, where their kids can go to school, like activities their kids can do. It boggles my mind that anybody thought that 6 months was enough time. It's so infuriating.
It's horrifying, too, because you're stealing stuff from people that they've probably worked their whole life for, that they'll never get back.
Yeah.
They will never see that money.
It's like with you. It's like if she were to take $5,000 from you, do you know how many you have to suck to make $5,000? I don't want to wish that on you.
Only one. I am an expert and I'm very expensive.
We have so many podcasts to record. You can't be out here sucking dick trying to get that money back. I don't want that for you.
Well, listen, y'all. I'm mad. Ellen's mad. We're all mad. But you know who is even angrier than all of us? Stanita's mom, Mrs. Roll. True to form, she comes back just in time to say this.
Oh, I would like to slap her. I feel bad for the other ladies, too. Probably take a second whack, just because. Whoosh, that's for Stanita. Whoosh, and that's for the other ladies.
Listen, I don't advocate violence. There are times where people really test me. And it gets you to that point where you're like, I just want to slap the shit out of you because I'm not going to get my money back. I'm not going to get these things back. I can't pay for my daughter's wedding. I can't get that house I wanted, but it will feel immaculate to slap the shit out of you.
Honestly, Candace Clark is a good argument for misogyny. I can see it. I'm fine with it. So Darlene, at the end, is like, there's no justice. She's on house arrest? Big fucking deal. She's like, that's not enough time. And then she says this.
She should be doing some time, and I hear that she's on house arrest until December.
And then the producer comes in with this.
It's probably August now.
Oh, really?
Watching her hear that information in real time, that was an emotional journey.
Yeah.
Because she was like, it's December. And then hearing, even though it's a couple months, it's like, cool, now it's August.
Yeah.
She was just like, what do you say?
I will say this. All the people that she fucked over and she got out and she's on house arrest, if people find out where she lives, I hope she sleeps with one eye open. And I'm not advocating for someone to hurt her, but I'm just saying, like, when you rob people that way, it only takes one and the wrong one or the right one. Do you know what I mean? To do something crazy. So she's going to have to live with this for the rest of her life, and she's going to be having to look over her shoulder the rest of her life. Comptroller says, is it comptroller?
I don't know.
I'm exhausted. Comptroller. Susanna says, you know, everybody wants to know why. Why did she do this? You know, the press conferences and the hired actors. Basically, this was all little scams to get to the big scam, which was to show large corporations in Chicago all of the good things that she was doing, all of this great work, and to show that she was legitimate so that she could scam them out of really big money. And listen, let's be real. Candace was addicted. She was addicted to the high of scamming people, and she got too big for her britches. She spread herself very thin, but I think she was addicted to that high. And y'all, in July of 2023, Candace Clark was released on parole and put on house arrest. I would not want to be Candace Clark in Chicago.
She's got to be gone. I mean, it's crazy. I read in a little bit further that wasn't included in the episode to the lengths that she went to in some of her schemes. I didn't even think about this. Do you know when she was getting all those fake awards and making all those fake speeches and doing all those fake Q&As, do you know who was in the audience?
No idea.
Extras.
Stop.
She went to an extras casting agency, y'all. An extra is in a movie, you know, when you see a bunch of people in a cafe, those extras are paid like whatever, $150 a day to sit there all day, but they're cast through like an agency. It was extras. That's why the guy was like, I didn't recognize any faces or anything. Those weren't even real people. Not only the people talking, she was like, hey, I have a party and I need a bunch of people to come. And
That is insane.
I mean, the fact that she got caught, like, I would love, my dream in a scenario like this would be to sit down with Candace and be like, give me the start to finish. Give me the inception of this. Give me the through line. Because, you know, it's like the end of a Scooby-Doo, and I almost got away with it if it wasn't for those pesky kids.
Yep.
Walk me through this. And then also, just get a fucking real job. Just
Get a fucking real job.
Get a
and
job.
get a life.
Go to work like all of us.
Yeah.
Stop.
It's awful. My heart breaks for all of the people who are affected by this. And I hope that they've all recovered and found peace. And I hope Candace lives a very uncomfortable life.
I think she will. And I think that's a very good way to put it. Say something funny.
Well, listen, y'all, I don't have anything funny to say. But since we're talking about extras, I'm going to send anyone who gives a shit on a little scavenger hunt. I did extra work in my early 20s in 2 movies. One was a movie called Dracula 2000, and the other one is a movie called The Runaway Jury, both filmed in New Orleans. I was 20 and 22 years old when I did those. Happy hunting. Oh!
Oh, I love this show.
I just gave a bunch of detectives a new case.
They're going to find it in 32 seconds. By the time, you know, there are people who listen like first thing in the morning and 6 o'clock rolls around, they're already putting on our Facebook. There's going to be shit on our, it's going to be found before you wake up, baby boy. It's not even going to be an issue. There's going to be someone in Australia that's like, next. I'm already listening today, tomorrow. So, bitch. How about that? Anyway, down bitches, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to watch us on YouTube. Throw us on while you're cooking dinner or something. We would love to see your face. Even if you don't want to watch it, maybe just subscribe and like. We don't know why, but this is what we're doing. You can find us on YouTube by just searching I Think Not Pod.
And speaking of I Think Not Pod, that is our handle on all of our social media accounts. We'd love to see you there, as well as our Facebook group called the I Think Not Podcast Facebook discussion group. I did it, Mom. And that's where you can keep up to date with all of our news and our announcements. And maybe one day when we go back out on tour, when are we going to do that, Ellen?
We have to write a whole new show. That's what Christmas is for. Thank you all so much. Don't forget, if you're looking for bonus content, head over to patreon.com. And if you can't do that, you know we're always going to be here on Wednesdays on the general feed. But if you wouldn't mind heading over to iTunes and giving us a 5-star review and writing something nice, it really does help us in the algorithm. I know it's silly and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, we are but needy people here in the podcasting world.
Spoiler alert, I read them all, and they're very sweet, so thank you.
Aww. Until next time, I love you, Joey.
I love you too, Yellow Martian. I love all you DBs.
Love you, down bitches.
Love you.